Hi, my name is Kazumi Chin, and for my project with MPS, I spoke with Asian American artists and activists in San Francisco and produced a podcast called We Won't Move, a living archive showcasing these conversations. You can find these interviews on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you find your podcasts. Rather than just talking about this, I think would be best if you could just go listen to them and come back to this video or in the other order. But yeah, I just want to talk about my findings with this video and to really work through what it was that we were trying to accomplish, me and my co-hosts, in making these podcasts. So overall, what did I come to understand through these interviews? A running theme throughout these interviews concerns movement, broadly conceived, right? The name of the podcast is We Won't Move. And so we were really thinking about what this idea of movement means to people in San Francisco, especially those who are really dedicated to thinking about the history of the I Hotel. Um, and so we were thinking about the place of Asian American art and activism in San Francisco, how we might move forward now as we come to terms with the pandemic and more broadly as we come to terms with the ongoing violences of displacement, of gentrification, these things that occur within the city of San Francisco. And it seems like movement is at the heart of what we're thinking about when we think about geography and we think about community. And so what we came to understand is that it's through movement and additionally a refusal to move, both of these things at the same time in various ways coupled together, that kind of constitute an Asian American aesthetic and politics within San Francisco. And so rather than really continuing in this manner and presenting my findings in an academic form, I'd like to read to you what I have created. It's kind of like poetry, kind of like video art. It's sound, right? And I think this is maybe the most accurate way of conveying the kind of work that I've done in this past year. And so this piece is titled We Won't Move. We can begin with a claim. No matter where you are, you exist in relation to that space, in some form, in some way. What do you know about this space? What do you understand to be true? What exists there? What once existed? In defining space, we create place. We charge our surroundings with meaning. We speculate about what it might hold. We recover the histories that once charged it. I believe we must feel our way through the world, feel our way through theory, feel our way through activism, protest. It is feeling that allows us to move. And yet we do not merely move through space. We do not merely occupy space. Space too moves us. Space acts upon us. How does the city move us? How do we move the city? How does the city move through us? How do we move through the city? Through conversation, we can hear the city. We call upon one another. We speak together, listen together. Through voice, the city. Through movement, the voice. This is a project about making something known, about listening to the city as it moves through us, as it manifests here, with us, within us. For instance, this is a map written in MP3, an audio file with a history of a body that once moved through space. MP3, the capture of bodily ephemera. Given this capture, what next? How to make manifest this ephemera? How to fully become a body when given a voice and nothing else? This project points towards embodiment, towards the failings of asking to speak, the failings of being allowed to speak, the failings of a voice without a body. And yet, this is the medium. We speak in order to find our bodies. We speak in order to make manifest ourselves, so that we might return our voices to ourselves. I have become distant this past year, my body in isolation, my thoughts in isolation. We know now this is not enough. It is not enough to speak and be heard. True action requires hearing. True hearing requires action. To hear me, you must move. What are the words that move you? I want to ask you this. When you move, when do your words emerge? I want to ask you this too. And where do they emerge from? And how do they emerge? This is a project of noticing, of mourning ourselves into something else. I say this because I am learning to accept loss. I say this because so much has been lost. But given this landscape of loss, given this mapping of loss, given the city built on displacement, disappearing, forgetting, what yet moves us? How do we yet move? How do we yet map our movements? How do we yet feel ourselves in relation and make that feeling known? I believe we must feel our way through the world, feel our way through the city, feel our way through being together. It is this feeling that allows us to move. And yet we move also because we refuse to move on. To move on is to contain your mourning beyond. We won't move because our mourning is not yet beyond. It is here, this feeling, as we move. We move not past mourning, but within it. We hold close those whom we have lost, those whom we will lose. We won't move, not in the way you want us to. Instead, a movement designed to hold us, despite our grief, despite our mourning. Instead, a movement designed to show us ourselves in our anger, in our rage, in our admiration, our wonder. Grief, the framework, art, the emergence of a new way of being in relation to space, in relation to the city, in relation to each other. When I say our bodies, I mean you and me here together. An audio file can be a promise. One day I will be with you, and I won't move, and I will.